history, past and present for you, meeting friends old and new. Streaming Wednesdays and Saturdays too, with founder members Paul and Sue. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Film clips, photos, memories and friends, helps a dreary night go by. Wearing Hinckley, 6 of the best, stupendous quizzical high. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Let's take you back in time. A community affair. We'll take you for a ride. Henson's Cab will take you there. We're making history. HDPP, chapter applauses. History aside. Local causes. Streaming HDPP live. Betty is our queen bee. The sweetest holy candy. Dangerous Den here again. HDPP live. Hey, you know we keep it HDPP. And here we go again. Good evening. Oh, hello. How are you this evening? Live on a Sunday evening. It's HDPP Live, yes, and don't they deserve a good old clap? It's lovely to have you with us once again. And, yeah, oh, they're very enthusiastic tonight. Welcome along to the broadcast. Like I say, it's a Sunday night. We're in Hinckley. We're in the centre of the universe, so certainly of the known universe. So for the next sort of 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so, let's just forget about Monday blues and let's just have a little bit of fun together. And as always, you can participate in the broadcast. As you can see, our chat room is alive and well, barely alive, but it's alive anyway. And as you can see straight away in there, let me just go scroll to the top here, because first person in there tonight was all the way from Auckland in New Zealand, our Alan Slater. So hello, Alan. Nice to know that you're there, of course. And Kit was straight in. I was thinking about Kit the other night because I was zapping through the TV channels the other night and Poldark was on. I thought, oh, Mrs. Poldark, and they're running it right from the beginning. I know you can watch these things on iPlayer, but it's actually on one of the channels, many of which exist. And so I started watching it again. I thought, yeah, this was all right, this one. I thought, Mrs. Poldark, I wonder how she is. Yes. Anyway, Kevin Beasley, good evening. Nice to know you there. And Mr. Smuggler's here. He's already feeling very smug. He's already got the anagram, and we've not even got to it yet. So David Allen's here as well. Tash is here. Nice one. And Daniel Coburn. Daniel, I'm glad that you're feeling a lot better as well this evening, because he was a bit poorly. He had to go to bed last week. Yes, I know. I say David Allen's here as well. Anybody else in that list? Jeff Wallace, he said, good evening, Paul. And everybody said, Jeff here in Brig. Anna's gone to the pantomime. Oh, no, she hasn't. Yeah. Is that the Hinckley one? I'm just wondering whether it's gone to the Hinckley one or whether a different one. I should imagine it's the Hinckley one because of the time of year and how late it is, because it's usually a late-ish panto, you see. And anybody, Pat Galloway's here. Hi, Pat. Long time we haven't had you in here for a long time. So it's nice that you've made it. Carol Bees is here. Hello, Carol. Nice to see you there. And Jan Kirby's here. And Uncle Tom Cobley and all. So there we go. It's been a busy old week, as usual, for HDPP. On Wednesday night, we were in Ill Shilton. We were. And went to the local heritage group and to do a presentation. So that went off very, very nicely. And they made us a lovely donation. So that was good. Really pleased about that. And what else has been going on as well? Because we've got loads of different things going on. You've been following the business, all about Ada Lovelace, of course. Well, Ada's statue will be unveiled a week on Saturday. Everyone can come to the actual unveiling. Outside the college. I don't know if they're going to have to shut the road. It's going to be a bit tight, I reckon, because I reckon there's going to be a lot of people that turn up. Anyway, so there we go. Looking forward to that very much so. And already, I mean, she sort of looks at home. Even though she's all wrapped up at the minute, she looks at home now. I think it's going to work. The crops are in, thank goodness. We can now start. We bumped into the Crops and the Kirby's yesterday in St Mary's Church while we were there scanning yesterday morning. So it was nice to see them. And happy 30th anniversary. Yeah, Alan, I know. I was telling him it's been 30 years, I tell you. 30 years since my last pantomime. Oh, yes, it was. And with how the time has gone by, 30 years this year, good grief. And I will dig out some of the other panto cuttings for you, and we'll have to have a special Alan Crop at the panto night. Yeah, we'll have to do something like that. Anyway, so with no further ado, listen, I've gabbled on enough. First of all, we've got a quiz tonight. Yes, a quiz. We've got our usual 4 questions, and we're having a little problem trying to get up with a clue for the anagram. We're just going to put it out there. And then see if we can think of one as we go through. So if pens and paper ready, if you would please, let us go through with the weekly quiz. Yes, it used to be 6 of the best, but due to cutbacks, we're now down to 4. Okay, right. Oh, and Dangerous Den's in as well. Yes, that's nice. Oh, Carol Beasley says, that's a Pearl anniversary, Paul. 30 years. Oh, good grief. There we go. Here we go then. So, question number 1. This is a good little question. Now, listen, don't Google these, please. If you don't know, you don't know. But anyway, going on to Google is a cheat's way when we're live. Pakistan borders which 4 countries? I thought that was a good question. So there you go. There's 4 countries that border Pakistan. What are they? That is what we're looking for in question number 1 this evening. Question number 2. In what building in London is Poets' Corner? Blimey, Paul, that's a good, easy one as well. Yes, exactly. So where can you find Poets' Corner? In what building in London? Where in Hinckley can you find Argyle House? Oh, that's a nice one. We've talked about it plenty of times, but were you paying attention? Well, we'll find out soon, I suppose. There we go. Where in Hinckley can you find Argyle House? Kath Denny's late She's late. Kath, where have you been? Detention later. Right, here comes the anagram. Now, the anagram is Andrea enclosed motioning. Now then, it was difficult, so I'll leave it on the screen while I tell you. I was trying to think of a suitable clue, because trying to get a clue for this one was difficult because it gives it away if you're too much. So anyway, so some of the clues we came up with, which I did write down earlier on, and these are cryptic clues. Talk about Hinckley framers, or you are clearly in the frame if you get this, which is probably a better cryptic clue. And we're talking entertainment. So think entertainment, okay? And you're clearly in the frame if you get this. And we're looking for this form of entertainment that existed in the town in more than one guise. Anyway, let's just see what you come up with first. Now, if you need an extra clue, it's a tough one tonight because I can't give you a real subtle, easy clue without giving it away. So you got to think a little bit laterally. So you are clearly in the frame if you get this. So think about that a little bit. And we're talking entertainment. It's a local question we're looking for, and it's entertainment based. Okay, right. Kath Denny says, I've been to the loo now. Well, sit down there and behave. Next time you want to go, put your hand up. I've got other connotations now. Let's go through those questions one more time. Here we go. Question number 1. Pakistan borders which 4 countries? That's a good one. Do it without Google, then you can feel extra smug, like Mr. Smugly does every week on this programme. Question 2. In what building in London is Poets' Corner? Pretty easy, that one. But where in Hinckley can you find Argyle House? Argyle House. You know we've talked about it, but where is it? And there we go. Andrea enclosed motioning, a cryptic clue, and you've got to think of, and laterally as well with this, talk about Hinckley framers, or you are clearly in the frame. If you are in the frame, and if you are in frame, yeah, see, and think entertainment in frame, rearrange those letters. You'll have, I nearly gave it away then. We're looking for the leisure and entertainment business. That's all I'm going to say. How's that? That's it. Good. Right. Lovely. So that's the quiz. We'll be coming back to it, of course, throughout the broadcast, as you jolly well know. There we go. So, yeah, if anybody else needs to go to the loo now, now's the time. Quickly, before you disturb the rest of the class, put your hand up. Can you remember when you used to do that at school? Please, sir, can I go to the toilet? Yeah, and they say, yes or no. Particularly if you want to get out for a bit of fresh air, you know what it was like. But still, there we go. Okay, then, a couple of features tonight. We're going to be off to Barwell Wakes very, very shortly. That's one of the features which I used on Wednesday night. Yes, it was Wednesday night when we went over to Ilshilton Local History Group. And then we're going to have a look at the postman in the 1960s. I know, I'll dig them all up. We get them off YouTube and stuff. And just for anybody that's in here that's not heard, of course, Mr. Nosy no longer doing noses. We've got a back catalogue which we can use. So every now and again we will have a nosy. Not tonight. So there'll be no more noses from Mr. Nosy as such. So, but you might have seen his post on his group a little while ago. But there you go. It's just one of those things, by the way. And I'm delighted to also inform you, before going to the feature, is that our cemetery DVD it just keeps going. Really, really pleased with the sales. We've raised quite a lot of money through that. So it's been worth all the extra hard work to get it all out there. If you haven't got yours yet, you know where to go. You go down to Jasper's, and there it all is. It really is a fantastic little job, as I keep saying myself. And if it continues at this rate, maybe next year we'll have to do part 2. And if you can think of a suitable title for that, I'm sure there'll be something. That'd be good. But like I say, tiptoe through the tombstones of Sparrows Garden, available at Jasper's Hinckley. You know, and you've seen the ads, and I was plugging it like mad up till before Christmas. But there we go. Right, now with no further ado, now I've got to do a couple of clicks now. So with no further ado, while you're working on those questions, and like I say, the anagram is a bit difficult, but please think entertainment, and think of, if you were in the frame. Yeah, let's frame that. But anyway, no, I'm going to give it away. Let's have a look at Barwell Wakes. Now, Barwell Wakes and Ilshilton, they used to have a tremendous following. The Barwell Wakes Week, particularly, was massive. Fairs and processions and a real carnival atmosphere. And they continued well into the 1970s. I don't know when the actual last one were. But when this film starts, it actually, I mean, if nothing else, look at the backgrounds. Look at some of the old shops in Barwell High Street and places like that. If you have a look, wonderful to see some of the old shops. And the film starts outside Church Lane or Church Street, whichever way you want to call it, and you can still see the old vicarage standing there. Because when I showed this on Wednesday night, some people said, where in Barwell's that? And when you said, well, that's the old vicarage and the church is beyond that big. Oh, wow. Anyway, I won't spoil it. I'll let you sit back and enjoy Barwell Wakes Week. Here we go. Oh, wow. What about that then? Did you enjoy that? I've seen that from lots of the comments. You did enjoy that indeed. And a lot of the conversation going on in the chat room about it's a shame we don't have carnivals anymore. And I put, well, it looks like health and safety had a lot to do with why we don't get these things, because the risks that, well, the perceived risks, nobody wants to take it on and they're scared to do it, and I understand that, and it's a shame because a lot of these fantastic community events, such as Barwell Wakes and stuff, have suffered because we don't have those sort of events going on. The last Hinckley Carnival back in 2017 was only 6 floats and stuff, and then you have to manage about closing roads and stuff and whatnot, and they just say we haven't got time to police that and stuff and what have you. So it makes it really, really difficult. But anyway, let's have a quick look at some more of the comments. Pat Galloway, people don't know today what they're missing. Such a shame. It's true. Yeah, absolutely. Jan said, I'd love to see the bands and stuff. And say, we know that health and safety is important. Don't get us wrong. But sometimes it seems to be a bit too much the other way, if you know what I mean. But anyway. There you go. And as Daniel says, people today sadly lack a bit of common sense, unfortunately. Yes, that is true. But Alan Kropp said, listen, I enjoyed that one. That was good. So, and you see how much effort went into it. And many of you would have seen Barwell Comic Band in there as well. Great to see them. We often give them a mention whenever we do anything to do with Barwell. And they attended loads of carnivals and events up and down all around the local area. I've seen pictures of them and seen a film of them in the Nuneaton Carnival and such. And there's the unmistakable Jim Lord playing the big drum. And Jim, I think I've told you many times, he used to play Pantomime Dame. Oh, yes, he did. We've got a lot of pantomime things in this gag tonight. He used to play the Pantomime Dame at the Ilsham Pantomime Company right into the early 1970s. And he was just one of those well-known figures. And the comic band themselves went on for many, many years. And then sadly, the demise of, and of course, people get older and they can't do what they used to do. Tell me about it. But anyway, there we go. But it's nice to have some fun because life's too busy these days for much fun. And we were talking about this only the other day with a group of friends of ours saying, we were lucky. We had a lot of fun, and particularly at work. You couldn't get away with some of the stuff we got up to at work now, I can tell you, but still. Anyway, my next question is, how are you doing with the quiz? Hopefully you're doing okay. I'm curious whether anybody's managed to get the anagram. Now, I do appreciate it's difficult. It's a hard one. But it's difficult to give you a clue without giving it away about the premises is that we are looking for. Past premises of entertainment. And if you're in the frame, I can't say much more than that. The transparency frames. There are lots and lots and lots of transparency frames. Oh, very, very difficult without giving it away. Now you'd be delighted to know Mrs. G's bought me a cup of tea, which is most enjoyable. Looking forward to that in just a few moments' time. Jeff said the quiz is going badly tonight. Oh, okay. Let's go through those questions one more time and let's see if we can help you along the way. So, question number 1. Now, once again, try and do these without going on Google. It's all so easy. To get the phone and I'll Google that. Listen, if you don't know, we're not going to come round and shame you. We're not going to come knocking on your door. If you don't know, you don't know. Pakistan borders which 4 countries? Just have a guess. It really doesn't matter. It's just for a bit of fun on a Sunday evening. So there's question number 1. Pakistan borders which 4 countries? I'm already getting word from Tasha that Mr. Smuggley's got the anagram, which is partly uplifting because I'm thinking, well, hopefully he's gone laterally with his thinking with the clues I've tried to give. Question 2. In what building in London is Poets' Corner? Pretty easy, that one, because I always like to put some easy ones in as well. You have a tough one, then an easy one. That's that. Now, where in Hinckley can you find Argyle House? Now, we know Mr. Smuggley will get that one too. We know that. But can you remember where I told you where Argyle House is still standing today? But where is it? That's what I want to know. We'll be coming back to that one a little bit later on. And this is that pesky anagram. under a enclosed motioning. And my clues I was trying to give you, because it's, as you'll appreciate, it's very difficult. When you get the answer at the end of this broadcast, you'll see why I couldn't give much. So I've tried to give you something in the line of, you are clearly in the frame if you get this. Think frame, or you're clearly in the transparency frame. It's the same difference. If you think on them lines, and it's on the line of entertainment, frames, entertainment, say no more, because I think that's sufficient for now. That will give you where we're going with this. Names of. Paul, stop it. You see, I nearly gave it all away there. So we'll come back to, we'll give you the answers to the quiz in a little while's time. Now then, other things that's been going on. Well, tomorrow night, yes, the Lords meet tomorrow night. That's the fundraising committee meet tomorrow night to go through the nominations for this year's local good causes, and a little meeting taking place. Tea, biscuits, and everything. We are expecting Queen Bee. Just tell you. She's not watching, I know. She watches later, you know. But however, yeah, we're meeting there tomorrow night, so you'll be seeing that we'll be inviting the local good causes to come along next month to collect their donations from HDPP. We've had a pretty good year, mainly down to yours truly doing lots of presentations, and with you supporting our raffles and things we do, and me doing video and cine transfers. It all adds up, and it's amazing. When was it scanning yesterday? We had 2 people come in with piles of films and stuff that they wanted transferring. Well, it's good, isn't it? I mean, they get their films transferred, we get to their donations, which is always nice. So really good. Now then, anything else I've got to tell you before I move on to our next feature this evening? No, I've got it all written down here in my bestest writing. No, our next feature, actually, we're looking back at the postman of the 90s. Remember postmen? These were the postmen that didn't wear shorts in the middle of winter. I saw one the other day. What's that all about? Yeah, wearing shorts, middle of winter. Well, bloody no, that snowed the other week. There they were, trudging out. Ooh, just the thought about it. Why did they do that? However, and can you remember the postal service, how it was when we were kids particularly? And I remember distinctly, you could post a letter in the morning locally and it would get there by the afternoon. And you used to write the address on, and then you put brackets local. And sure enough, you posted in the morning, but there in the afternoon, delivered in the afternoon, same day. And I won't get up on my soapbox about the post nowadays, but it's getting very expensive, and it doesn't always get there as first class. Don't necessarily get there as quick as second class these days. Now, don't tell them that, otherwise they'll put that price up as well. It was dear enough, but anyway, I digress. Basically, the good old postie. Back in the day. So we're going to go back into the 60s. This is a generalised thing which I've just picked up off YouTube. But I thought, well, that's worth a go. So the postman of the 1960s, a typical city urban postman of the 1960s. Let's go and have a look.
Most of us have forgotten how easily the British dream was once achieved. It was a time when a postman could buy a 3-bedroom house, a time when a single wage packet on a Friday was enough to feed a family, pay the bills, and still have money left over for a pint at the weekend. If you remember shillings and pence, the 4-shilling gallon, the Sunday drive, or the quiet streets on a Sunday afternoon, then you lived through a special time. To understand why the 1960s felt like a golden era for affordability, let's turn back the clock to a United Kingdom that looks very different from today, a Britain of coal fires and community spirit. Today we are told we are richer than ever with our smartphones and flat-screen TVs. But are we? Let's look at the seemingly unbelievable economic balance of the 1960s through the life of a man who walked your street every morning, the postman. Think of that early start. The sky is grey. The air is damp. You can smell wet pavement and faint coal smoke from a chimney down the road. He is already at the sorting office, hands moving fast, letters stacked, stamps in the corner, rubber bands around bundles. There is the shuffle of paper and the scrape of boots. Then he steps out, bag over shoulder, and the route begins. He knew the street like a map in his head. Which gate stuck, which dog barked, which house had a broken step. You could hear the soft scrape of an envelope through the door, then the clunk of the letterbox closing. He carried small pieces of life without meaning to. A birthday card, a letter from a son far away, a brown envelope that made someone go quiet at the kitchen table. He also noticed things. If curtains stayed shut too long, he saw it. If someone did not answer the door for days, he remembered. People talk about community like it is a lost idea. In the 60s, it was daily habit. Now let's start with the money. In 1960, the average weekly wage for a man in manual work was around 14 to 15 pounds a week. To modern ears, earning 15 quid a week sounds like a joke. But the key lies not in the number, but in the power of that pound note. Back then, you didn't get a digital transfer. You got a brown envelope, the wage packet. The texture of the cash was real. You brought it home, put it on the kitchen table and divided it up. Rent, food, electric and savings. The strength of the pound in your pocket was staggering compared to today. Inflation was lower and steadier for long stretches, and employment was high. If you didn't like your job on Monday, you could walk out and often have another one quickly. That steady growth meant working-class families felt richer every single year. People lived within their means, and their means were usually sufficient. Ordinary families were not running their lives on credit the way we do now. They budgeted with what they had, and what they had could still build a future. And speaking of work, the atmosphere was completely different. Today, people fear redundancy constantly. But in the 60s, there was a concept that has totally vanished: the job for life. If you joined a company as a lad, you could expect to stay there until you got your gold watch at retirement. The post office was one of those places people trusted. It was steady. It was respected. It gave you a routine, a wage, and a feeling that tomorrow would look like today. That matters, because when work feels solid, you can plan your life instead of just surviving it. And do you remember the apprenticeships? Young men left school at 15 and went straight into a trade. They learned to be welders, joiners, electricians, mechanics. They were paid to learn. They were treated with a bit of roughness, yes, sent for a long stand, told to sweep floors, given the dirty jobs first. But they were given a skill that no one could take away. The workplace had a community feel too. Who remembers the tea lady? Around 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, a formidable woman would push a trolley through the office or factory floor, a giant metal urn of tea and a few sticky buns. Work stopped. People talked. Offices were filled with the sound of typewriters, clack, 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 and let's be honest, a lot of smoke. It was a different world, less polished, more human. You were a name, not just a number on a spreadsheet. This secure income was the basis for the next crucial step, buying a home. Today, the British dream of home ownership is dead for many young people. But in the 60s, it was a standard expectation. The golden rule was simple. A house cost roughly 3 times your annual salary. In the early 1960s, a decent semi-detached house in a respectable area cost around £2,500 to £3,000. Not a show home. A normal family house. A small front garden. A short gate. Net curtains in the front room. A narrow hallway that smelled faintly of polish. And out back, often a coal shed or bunker where the sacks went when the coal man came. Compare that to the average income. A young couple in their early 20s could save the deposit in less than 2 years if they kept things tight. Getting a mortgage wasn't about algorithms and credit scores. It was a chat with the local building society manager. If you had a steady job and a good character, you got the money. New home buyers in the 50s and 60s were mostly first-time buyers. They weren't competing with foreign investors or buy-to-let landlords in the way people do now. Houses were for living in, not for speculation. When a major asset like housing was within reach, households could build real wealth, slowly, steadily, and without feeling like they were climbing a cliff with no grip. So when people ask, how could a 1960s postman afford a house? The answer is not magic. It is the deal of the era. A steady wage, a steady job, house prices that still matched real earnings, and then the part that really makes your jaw drop, what it actually cost to live week to week while you were saving. Because the house price was only one side of the story. The real shock is what it cost to feed a family for a full week in 1960, and how much money could still be left in that brown envelope after the shopping was done. Now let's talk about the weekly shop, because this is where the 1960s starts to feel real in your hands. Today, we rely on huge supermarkets with bright lights, loud beeps, and aisles that never end. Back then, shopping was smaller, local, and strangely comforting. It was a routine you could walk to. It was faces you recognized. It was a place where people actually spoke to each other. You stepped onto the high street and it hit you straight away. The smell of fresh bread drifting out from the baker. The sharp, cold smell of raw meat and sawdust at the butcher. The sweet, damp scent of apples and stacked oranges outside the greengrocer. You pushed open a door and the little bell jingled. Someone looked up and said, "Morning?" like you mattered. And the prices. This is the part that makes people today shake their heads. A large loaf of white bread was about 5 pence in old money, a dozen eggs around 3 shillings, a pound of butter 1 shilling and 6 pence. It was not just that it was cheaper, it was that it matched the wage packet. Food was a normal part of life, not a constant worry that swallowed the whole week. But it was not only about prices, it was the way people lived. You did not just buy sausages from the butcher, you had a natter. You asked after his kids, he asked after your mum. A quick chat, a small laugh, then you moved on. The shopkeeper knew what you usually bought. If you were short a few pennies, you did not feel like a criminal. Life had more trust built into it. And the service came to you. The milkman did not just drop pints and disappear. He was the eyes and ears of the street. If Mrs. Jones at number 4 didn't take her milk in, he noticed, he might knock. He might ask a neighbour. The baker brought bread. The popman brought fizzy drinks. Even the postman walking the route was part of that daily web. We haven't just lost cheap food. We've lost that quiet human connection that made life feel steady. There is one specific memory that defines the 1960s more than any other. Sunday. A real 1960s Sunday would feel like an alien planet to a modern teenager. Everything was shut. The shops closed, the streets emptied. The silence felt big. Even the pubs were closed for most of the day. No quick run to the supermarket, no endless browsing. We'll just grab something. If you ran out of milk, tough luck. You borrowed from next door. It could be boring, yes, but it forced families into the same room, into the same rhythm. The Sunday roast was the anchor. The smell filled the house from the morning. Roasting beef or lamb, or sometimes chicken if you were doing well. Yorkshire puddings rising in the oven, potatoes sizzling, steam on the kitchen window. You could hear plates being set down, knives and forks clinking, the radio murmuring in the background. After lunch, you didn't rush off to buy things. You went for a walk. You washed the car. You listened to the wireless. Or you simply sat there, a bit sleepy with the house quiet around you. Life had a pause button, and the whole country pressed it together. Today, every day can feel the same, one long rush of buying and scrolling. Back then, Sunday was different on purpose. And if you weren't sitting at home on a Sunday, you were taking part in the great British tradition, the Sunday drive. If you were lucky enough to drive in the 60s, you remember the smell of petrol and warm engine metal. You remember the feel of the steering wheel in your hands, and the way the car seemed to open the world up. In 1960, petrol cost around 4 shillings and 9 pence a gallon. For a £1 note, you could fuel your car for a good while. It wasn't about commuting. It was about packing a picnic hamper, piling the kids into the back, and heading out. A Ford Cortina, an Austin Cambridge, maybe a Hillman if that was what you had. The car didn't have to be fancy. It just had to run. You drove to the Lake District, the Peak District, or down to the coast. You parked in a lay-by, sometimes beside other families doing the same thing. You opened a thermos of tea. You unwrapped sandwiches. You sat on the grass with the wind in your face. Kids ran around. Parents talked. It was cheap, it was simple, and it felt like freedom. If you want to measure quality of life in one quick way, look at the pub. In the mid-60s, a pint of bitter varied, but it was often around 1 shilling and 10 pence. A packet of crisps was about 6 pence. A night out didn't require a bank loan. A working man could go on a Friday, buy a round, play darts, have a laugh, and still have change left over. You could hear the pub in your head if you remember it. The thud of darts hitting the board, the scrape of chairs, a burst of laughter, the clink of glasses, the smell of beer and smoke and damp coats hung near the door. It wasn't luxury, but it was affordable. The financial barrier to joining in with public life was low. Now bring it back to the postman. He lived inside this whole system. He walked past the same shops. He delivered the letters that moved money around. He heard the street talk about who was buying and who was saving. And when he put a little aside each week, it stayed aside. The target didn't sprint away from him. The deposit felt reachable because weekly life didn't crush the envelope before the week had even started. That's why the question, how could he afford a house, has a deeper answer than one price tag. It was the whole structure, wages that matched costs, local shopping that kept life simple, Sundays that slowed spending, cheap fuel that made small adventures possible, a pub that didn't punish you for walking in. But there's still one part of 1960s life that makes modern Britain feel almost unrecognizable, and it isn't the mortgages or the price of bread. It's what children were allowed to do, how far they could roam, and how the street itself became their playground, because once you remember that freedom, you start to see what we really lost. Children in the 1960s lived in a way modern kids can barely picture. The street was the playground, the pavement was the football pitch, the curb was the balance beam. There were no phones tracking you, no constant messages, no parents hovering 10 steps behind. You went out after breakfast and the big rule was simple. Be home when it gets dark. You could hear the street like a soundtrack, a ball thumping against a wall, chalk scraping the pavement as someone drew hopscotch squares, bikes rattling over drains, a mum calling a name from a doorway. In autumn, it was conkers. You held the chestnut tight, you swung, you missed, you hit, and your knuckles stung, but you felt proud. You climbed trees, you scraped your knees, you got on with it. That freedom mattered because it changed the whole mood of family life. Parents were not running a taxi service all day, kids were not trapped inside, and the street looked out for itself. If you fell off your bike, someone's mum would appear with a wet cloth and tell you to stop fussing. Then you were back out again like nothing happened. It sounds rough now, but it made children tough in a quiet, natural way. There's another attitude from the 60s that we have completely lost. Make do and mend. Today, if a toaster breaks, we bin it. If a shirt gets a hole, we throw it away. In the 1960s, you fixed things. Fathers spent weekends in sheds, tinkering with a broken radio, fixing a bike chain, tightening a loose door handle. You could smell oil, metal, and damp wood. You could hear the click of tools and the little groan when something would not budge. Mothers were experts with a needle and thread. Knitting was not a quirky hobby. It was normal. It was useful. Patterns were shared. Jumpers were made at home, sometimes itchy, sometimes a bit lumpy, but made with care. Clothes were looked after. You had your best outfit for special days. You didn't own piles of things. You owned fewer, and you respected them. That sounds like a small detail, but it links straight to money. When you are not constantly replacing everything, you stop bleeding cash in tiny ways all week. When your life is not filled with endless upgrades, saving becomes possible. That is part of how a postman could build a life, not because he lived like a king, but because his week had fewer leaks. Now let's be honest. It wasn't all comfort. Homes were colder. Central heating was rare. For most families, life revolved around the coal fire. You remember the coalman dumping sacks into the bunker, the dull thud of coal hitting stone, the black dust that seemed to spread everywhere. You remember shoveling coal in the morning, hands cold, breath visible, trying to get the fire going again. And do you remember the paraffin heater in the hallway? That sharp, warm smell is the smell of a 1960s winter. The windows would steam up. You'd sit close to the fire with your feet near the grate, turning to warm both sides. Comfort existed, but you had to work for it. Then there was the meter under the stairs. If the lights went out, you didn't call anyone. You scrambled for a coin. You could hear the clink as it dropped in, then that little mechanical sound as the power came back. It forced you to be careful. It also meant you never forgot what electricity cost, because you could literally see it running out. Here is one of the most painful comparisons of all: higher education. In the 1960s, university was free, and many students received a grant. That meant a young person could start adult life without a huge debt sitting on their shoulders. Social mobility was not just talk. A miner's daughter could become a teacher, a working-class lad could become an engineer, and when they finished, they didn't begin life already drowning. Think what that does to a family's future. If a young adult starts life without debt, they can save sooner, they can plan sooner, they can build stability without panic. Not everyone went to university, of course. Plenty of people went straight into work. But for those who did, the deal was kinder than it is now. Inside the home, technology was changing things too. Not sleek or shiny, but life-changing in small ways. The twin-tub washing machine was noisy and manual, but it saved hours of heavy work. You could hear it churning and sloshing. You had to move clothes by hand. You had to watch it, but it took pressure off everyday life. And then there was the television, black and white, a few channels, but it mattered. Buying a TV was expensive, so many families rented one from places like radio rentals. Watching TV wasn't something you did alone in your room. It was a family event. The whole room would sit together. You could hear the kettle boil during the adverts. You could hear someone say shush when the program came back. Next day, people talked about the same shows at work and at school. Even the postman sat inside this same world. He walked home tired, stepped into a cold hallway, and warmed his hands by the fire. He lived with less comfort than we expect today, but he lived inside a system where the big steps of life still felt reachable. So looking back, was the 1960s a paradise? No, homes were colder, food was plainer, cars were less safe, work could be strict, but the basic deal was stronger. A steady job could still support a family. A home could still match real wages. Young people could start life without a mountain of debt, and everyday life did not leak money in 100 invisible ways. Share this video with your children and grandchildren. Show them how different life used to be. Tell me in the comments, what is the one thing you miss most from the 1960s? And don't forget to subscribe for more trips down memory lane. Thank you for watching.
And there we have it. Some memories in there. My word, some memories in there. What was the memory it brought back for you? That's what I want to know. My glasses seem to be crooked tonight. I don't know what it is unless it's my head. Yeah, but what memories has that brought back to you? I mean, and indeed, in recent times. I mean, particularly when Dennis and Daniel are talking about paraffin heaters. Now, I remember having paraffin heaters at home as well, and that smell that they used to emit, certainly when you lit them. And then, obviously, at the end of the night, when you switch them off and you got that, and it got right up your nose, didn't it? Yeah. But interesting little film that. I enjoyed that because there were lots of things. And I think there was a message in there as well, actually, particularly when it's saying about how because the youngsters today, you know, they leave school, they get a grant. In other words, they get into debt. Let's put it right. You know, and then they go off to university. Yeah. But I'm a big advocate, actually, of there's a lot of, and I think I've said this many times. Yes, yeah, there's things about going to uni and getting your degrees, and that's okay if the jobs are there. But we need more tradespeople. We need more electricians, builders, and that sort of hands on. I remember there's quite a few lads at school who were absolutely academically they were not very good. But put them in the wood workshop or put them in the metal workshop, and they were ace. We all bring our own different qualities to life, and you can't all be pigeonholed in one place. And I do feel for the upcoming generations that have got into debt, because that seems to be the way the world works these days. And a lot of things are putting the money in the electric and things like that, you know. And indeed, when you were paid and you split it all out on a Thursday night, you'd sit there and budgeted everything all out because you could actually see where your money was going and stuff. So there we go. But lots of great comments coming in, by the way. As I say, people say, fine, an interesting film, great memories there. And Jeff Wallace saying exactly the same, great film. We can relate to it. And it made me wonder, while we were watching that, if you follow me, if you will, while we were watching that, I'm thinking, I wonder how our parents felt about their world when they were growing, as we came into the world, if you understand what I mean. So what their childhood was like compared to what our childhood was going to be. Now we're comparing what our childhood was to today. You see what I mean? So it does make you wonder. I mean, obviously it's an ongoing thing, but it just makes things that make you go, So there we go. Anyway, Alan Kropp said, I remember going to the outside loo and the chamber under the bed. You couldn't beat the old Gazunder, could you? And I've told you many, many times when I've gone to the schools to talk to particularly the junior schools, and I explained about a Gazunder and saying that, well, basically, that they thought I was joking. They didn't think that, such things. I said, you're lucky today. So, you've got your bathroom upstairs and, and all the rest of it. I said, but if you somebody have to empty the pot in the morning and stuff, they found it hilarious. But I said, yeah, we did it. And you just got on with it, didn't you? Anyway, we're talking really old. We're talking like old fogies now, aren't we? So, Jan Kirby, it's called progress, I know. Absolutely. So I'm glad you like that. And are you enjoying these films? By the way, that's what I meant to ask. If you're enjoying these films that I'm finding to show you, I like to look back to the 60s, 70s, and if you want, we can go back to the 50s. For those of you that can remember the 50s and stuff, I'm happy to do that if you're happy to sit and watch them and stuff. A quick reminder also, as I'm looking down at my notes here, and that is, don't forget, a week on Wednesday, our first social night of 2026, and we've got Paul Williams coming to talk about bringing water to Hinckley. It's going to be a good little evening. Looking forward to that, of course. So that's in, like I say, a week on Wednesday as well. Now, and I've also have been in touch with Eddie Smallwood, and I've gave him 2 dates. I'm waiting for him to actually get back to me on these dates so I can confirm them up. So hopefully we'll be having a couple of visits from Eddie Smallwood. So there we go. Good. Right, it's now time to go to the old quiz and ask you for your answers this evening. So it would appear that Mr. Smuggley has got it. So is Dennis. On the Aniogram, so there we go. Oh, Kath Denny, thank you, Kath. Loving all the films you put on, Paul. Really enjoy them. Oh, that's good, because I thought, you see, my problem, I've got some local stuff, but, there's only a limited amount of local stuff you can do before you recycle it again. So I tried to spread it out a little bit. Hence tonight's Barwell Wakes film. I thought, well, there's the local. There's the local bit tonight, and let's have a generalised memories film from that 60s. Right, we're going to go to the quiz now. Let me just scroll down and find the quiz, and we'll see how you are doing. Well, this is it. You can put your answers in a moment, so I'll give you a chance to type it up and ready to go. So the first question was, Pakistan borders which 4 countries? And like I said before, if you don't know, you don't know. It doesn't matter. But don't Google it. You'll learn it from here anyway. So the answer's coming in thick and fast. And right then, John Denny says India, Tibet, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan with a question mark. Dennis Ping said only 3, India, Afghanistan, Iran and... right. And Jeff, Afghanistan, India, China, Iran... Well, Jeff, you're the first one that came up with the full lineup. The other guys, you're very close with it. So some of you got 3 out of the 4. Well done. The answers I was looking for was India, Afghanistan, Iran, and China. Was the actual countries I was looking for. So well done. If you've got that, well done. I shall find another difficult question for next week. But like I say, if you don't know them, you don't know. It doesn't matter. Like I say, we're not going to come around and put a brick through your window or anything because you didn't know. But it's better, rather than going on Google and other search engines that are available. So well done. That's question 1. Question 2, a nice easy one, of course. In what building in London is Poets' Corner? Well, I'm sure you know it anyway, but I'll wait for the answers to come through now. If you're into the only thing I haven't found is Vogon poetry in Poets Corner. As you know, Vogon's poetry is the worst in the whole universe. If you're if you're into Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. Okay, answers coming in. Right, correct answer from Jan Kirby. However, Mr. Smugly has fallen. Oh no! Dennis Perkins, Westminster Abbey, and so does Daniel, Westminster Abbey. Mr. Smugly, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Okay. And so well done anyway. But yes, the correct answer is Westminster Abbey, not the Houses of Parliament, Mr. Smugly. Sorry. He said, Mr. Smugly said, I was so focused on the anagram. That's what done it, you see. Right then, Dennis, Kevin has already answered this question before I put it up, but well done, Kevin. Where in Hinckley can you find Argyle House? Kevin Beeses gave us the right answer. I'm just waiting to see if anybody else gives us the right answer for where it is. Kevin, sorry, a bit early. Don't worry, mate. It's the excitement, isn't it? And Mr. Smugly has redeemed himself on this one. He's correct as well, as is... Dennis fell foul of that one. And Jan Kirby. Hinckley. Oh, dear. Kevin and Mr. Smugly getting it right. It's on the corner of Wood Street and New Buildings. It's the Bangor Pride Lounge now, whatever it's called this week. It stands there. It's got the lovely curved corner. So there you go. So that's what we're looking for. Anyway, so I don't know why you were down Tesco on Hawley Road there, Dennis, but I'm sure you've had nice times down there. And, you see, Argyle, yes, and Daniel Coburn said, well, that's the one I know of, Dennis. The one I'm after is the real one on the corner of Wood Street and New Buildings. That's the Argyle house I'm after. There might be other Argyle houses, but we're talking in a past-present situation. Okay, there we go. And here we go then. Andrea, enclosed motioning. Let's see. I know some of you have got this right. The anagram. I gave you clues to the line of, you are clearly in the frame if you get this. Things like that. Trying to give you some, and I said this is in the world of entertainment, and some of you have indeed come through. Correct answer coming in now from Mr. Smugly. Also Dennis Perkins as well. Odeon, Regent and Danilo Cinemas. Yes, that is what we were looking for. Odeon, Regent, Danilo Cinemas. Exactly what we were looking for. And, that is it. Yeah. Now, Jeff Wallace said, I'm kicking myself now. What you want to do, mate, is take yourself outside and give yourself a damn good talking to. It works, I tell you. Jan said, I got the Danilo and Odeon, but then I gave up then. Too much. It was too much. Kevin B said, well, tonight I've got the usual one in my score. And Alan Kropp said, one for us plus a couple of countries. Well done. What's anybody else score? Has anybody got 4? Anyone got 4 out of 4? Don't think anyone's got 4 out of 4 tonight. I think some of you have got 3 out of 4. I'll just give that a moment while that goes out there. And as I say, it's just a bit of fun on a Sunday evening. 2 3/4 for me, says Dennis. Well done, mate. Well done. Okay, then. And Tasha Dennis said, Dad got 2.5. Just one tonight from Jeff. Well, there we go. That brings this latest live stream, this fun and frolics, to an end on this Sunday evening. Another week stretches ahead of us. And whatever you've got planned for the week, keep safe and have a good time. And like I say, we'll be back here on Sunday evening, 7:30, where we'll have another 4 questions. I've got an idea for another anagram for next week, and I've had to scribble it down here while I remember, because if I don't write it down, it goes. You know what it's like. You know what it's like. You walk into the kitchen, you think, what have I come in here for? Same sort of thing. If I don't just write it down, I won't remember. But anyway, there we go. So have a great week, a safe week. And as I look forward to you joining me here next Sunday evening, and at 7:30, or likewise on the wireless on a Sunday morning on FOSS 107. I'll be there from 8 through till 11 o'clock. If you can spend a bit of time with me on a Sunday, that's really, really nice. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you next week. All the best. Ta-da.
We're making history. HDPP chapter causes. Supporting local causes. Streaming HDPP live. Belly is our queen bee. The sweetest honey can be. Interested here again. HDPP live. Hey, you know we keep it HDPP.
Oh, hello. Fancy you coming back here. What have you do? What you come back for? As if I didn't know. Yes. For those of you that know, to stick around at the end of the broadcast, we always have a few dad jokes, because I love my dad jokes. And if you're all ready, I'm quite happy to give you just a few quick ones this evening. Are you ready? You're sitting comfortably. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Well, here we go then. Start now. What do you call a detective electrician? Sherlock Holmes. I like that one. What side of the tree grows its branches? Outside. Of course it does. Absolutely. What did the evil chicken lay? Developed eggs. Developed eggs. Yeah. Why did Adele cross the road? To say hello from the other side. You've got to know your pop music there, I suppose, yeah. What do a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common? They're both parasites. And finally, what's the difference between ignorance and apathy? I don't know and I don't care. Take care, we'll see you soon. Good night.